Dale tumbao, Tony. Ay, qué rico, rico. Camina.
I'm super, super excited because I got my friends here. Today, I just wanted you guys to come by. Let's talk a little bit. So we're gonna do some intros really quick. So just, Jorge, tell me a little bit about yourself, elevator speech.
Elevator speech, wow. My name's George Rodriguez, born and raised in Tampa. I'm of Cuban descent, even though I'm an infiltrated Dominican at this point.
Nice.
I'm in the cigar business alongside of other things that I've done in life. So I love it. I love being able to go to different countries and make products to bring here and share with everybody else. It's my elevator speech.
Cool.
Nice.
Robert, talk to me.
My name is Robert Portes, originally from New York, family descent from DR. I've been in Tampa since 2000. I consider myself a Floridian. I'm in the real estate business, so I have a wholesaling operation. So what that is, basically, I just get properties off market, send it to investors, and we also do fix and flip. So, yeah.
Cool. Senor
My
Jose,
name is
Vladi.
Jose Vladimir. Some people call me Jose. My close friends call me Vladi. I have a medical rehabilitation clinic. We focus on car accidents and slip and falls, and I also have a construction company, residential.
Super, super cool. So I wanted you guys to come in. So this is ¿Qué es lo que están pasando? So what's happening in Tampa?
I like
And I'm not gonna say too much about me. You guys know me, but everybody that knows me knows that in business I've done a lot, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, Hilo, what have you not done? What is it that you're doing now, right? And I don't see it that way because I've done solar. I've been in. I've had my own car dealership. Right now I'm in corporate car sales. A lot of people know me for the events that I do. Right. I've done debt consolidation. You name it. I've done a lot of stuff. I've had a marketing consulting company, but the whole time while I've done different industries, I see it like I'm in the people business, right? So to me, it's like I've moved different products, but like what I do is still the same. So I'm excited that you guys are here because I love to talk about just the journey and entrepreneuring and how the markets change and how we adapt to it changing. And then also one thing that, and I want us, we're going to talk here today, right? I want us to elaborate a little bit because as you're good at something, right? As a kid, I played baseball, right? I think I was pretty good at playing baseball. I played basketball. I was good at playing basketball, right? And I put pride in being good at what I was doing, right? But in business, that's tough sometimes because when you're good at this, I've struggled finding ways to kind of figure out like where do I stay? Where do I put most of my energy at, right? Because like that's tough, right? I mean, and I'm gonna kind of just take a shot at you, right? You were in Chase and you were, top of the ladder, doing great things. I mean, just to have the courage to say, you know what, I'm just gonna go entrepreneur and I'm just gonna go ahead and do something different. Like that takes a lot of courage. So, and you guys are doing good in all of your industries. So today, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about, is this the original roadmap? Like, did you always want to have a cigar company?
No, not at all. I had no idea what I was gonna get into, nor that this was gonna be my end game, and it still might not. You never know how things turn out in life. You know what I mean?
100%.
If somebody brings something on the table, you might try it, and you see, wait, I like this better. It's more lucrative. You always gotta think about your family and what's better. I do always know though that I wanted to be in business. I knew that I couldn't work for nobody. I'm not a 9-to-5er. If I want to go at 9 in the morning and have a little cafecito on the corner, or if I want to do it the next day at 10, I don't want nobody telling me you can't do it.
Yeah.
It just so happened that the business I ended up going into, developing, and then God was able to make a living off of was cigars, which is pretty unique because a lot of people really aren't in that business, you know.
You know, in my case, it was a little different though, because I grew up with the mindset of my family. You know, you had to go to school, you had to graduate, go to college, find a corporate job, and I grew up like that, right? Like I grew up in the corporate ladder. You know, started as a teller in the bank, worked my way up all the way to a VP at Citi, and that's how, you know, my mindset was corporate. Like you would not talk to me about anything else but corporate, because I was what it was filtered to me, you know, to be in the corporate world. And then when I started noticing other people succeeding, not in the corporate world. And I used to see Vladimir all the time, and in the medical business, and I'm like, man, like, I know I got the potential to do something else. Like, I know, if he can do it, I'm not saying I'm going to do it in the medical field,
Yeah,
but I could do it somewhere else,
I think we saw that at an early age, me and Robert. Me and
Oh, yeah.
Robert joined multi-level marketing at age 16,
Oh, yeah.
17. So I think it's like kind of what you said when it comes to business. That opened up our eyes and kind of got us not scared of a no. So although it might look as a bad thing to like join that multi-level, I think it showed us so much when it comes to selling, when it comes to like being able to take a rejection and make it a yes, make it a positive.
That's the hardest part.
Correct. So
Yeah.
since then, I did work for Bank of America. I worked for Citi, but I knew my top skill was people, kind of like yours, right? So I was wanting to see, where do I fit into this puzzle? Where does my past experiences shape my life and my future? So at that point, my first business I opened when I was 21. I opened a tax office.
Yeah, I remember.
So I had a lot of doubters, I guess, at that point, because most of the people I knew, they weren't really into the starting your own business. My father had a clinic at the point, so I kind of had my vision. I'd rather do what he's doing. He has the freedom. He can go out. He travels.
Yeah.
He's not a slave to the 9 to 5. So that's kind of why I kind of pivot towards taking the risk. I figured at a young age that taking the risk, although I might not have as sustained success, I was looking for that kind of that home run, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could be.
That's what everybody looks for, is that home run. Until you grow up and you swing so many times and you don't hit
Yeah,
the ball.
agree.
And that's when you're like, oh shit, like, what did I get myself into?
Correct.
Am I in the right thing? What do I do? And that's the biggest thing, you saying that, you're going to get rejecting so many times. Bro, I remember when I first started in this business, I went to Miami. And I thought, bro, I'm cute. I'm going to hit it out the park in Miami. These people are going to love me.
Yeah.
So I went with a little box of cigars, and I went with a briefcase under my arm. I'll never forget, I was wearing a guayabera and some little Coach loafers that I had. Bro, and I walked all up and down Calle Ocho. And every time I walk into a cigar shop, they would say, we're not interested. Don't worry about it. Or I would drop stuff off. Nobody wanted to talk. Bro, it was un fracaso. It was terrible. And I remember I got to the end of Calle Ocho, took my shoes off and the guayabera, and I threw it away because they were drenched in sweat. I didn't want to know. Bro, I heard no. But I'll tell you right now, when I heard that first yes, Pablo, you thought that I had won the lottery.
Yeah.
Over I think it was like $100 order or something like that. But you thought that I won the lottery. And I said, wait, hold on. You can really do
Mira,
Like, it can be done.
You're grateful.
What
Yeah.
Vladdy said about
over $100.
Oh yeah, what Vladdy said about the multi-level business. We used to go to like a random place, Walmart, and we would try to talk to people into getting to the
Yeah, we'll be like, it's your turn.
and we'd be like, it's your turn. Let me see what you're gonna do.
That's tough.
Bro, and we would like randomly just walk up to people. No. And we would hear that yes, bro, like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like,
Yeah,
Bro,
it's a celebration. We're at a party.
Gas stations,
gas station.
anywhere we'll be eating, it'll be like, it's your turn.
It's your turn, yeah.
Bro, but we got rejected. We knew we were gonna get rejected, but I guess that we was honing our craft, like practicing it, and so like it got to the point that we'll go talk to people and they never say no to us, right?
That sets you up for the future.
Yeah, we kind of like set up a way to just get people to say yes,
Yeah.
So
And I think that has helped us
Yeah.
now so much that in the business that I am right now in real estate, to convince someone to
That business
sell,
is tough, bro.
to convince somebody to sell your house at a discounted price, it takes a lot. But it's just I learned through the years that talking to people is the way that you get to understand, because people are not going to sell you something because they like you. They're going to sell it because they trust you. And how do you gain that trust? By talking to people, building that rapport, asking questions. It's not just going straight to the sale.
Right.
Let me get to know this person.
Exactly.
Let me see how I can get this person to like me.
Exactly.
So they can then trust me, and then they can sell me their house.
Exactly.
And that's how, you're in the car business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that when people walk in there,
People hate you as soon as they walk in the door.
yeah, because
They don't even know
because
you.
they're like, exactly,
Right?
People get there like that with a car.
Bro, I go to buy a car and I'm the same way.
But-
I go to buy a car and I'm like, eso no me gusta. Ven, you like I look like I think I can manipulate that guy. And I think I'm gonna win. I'm not gonna win nothing. That's why they're in business. They make money.
There's wins. there's definitely wins. Just we're not gonna go deep into cars, but you guys give me an idea. I might do un que lo que están pasando with some car sales guys and talk a little bit about that. But it's true because if it weren't for the people, people could just buy the car online. And I know right now there's Carvana, they have a vending machine. I think Amazon is getting into the business of
Amazon?
yeah, that eventually you're gonna be able to buy a car. But
You know what?
the truth is that personal connection is important, right? And like when I did solar sales, it was like I wasn't gonna send a prop online. I wanted to go there to the house. I wanted to talk to them, right? Because as you're selling in anything, solar, cars, a home,
Cigar.
even a cigar,
Yeah.
right? Like I need to do a customer interview. I got to figure out what is it that you like, what is it that you're into, what is it,
personal.
right?
Even when when I went to buy my car the other day over there, the girl that took care of me, she didn't focus on me. Who did she focus on? My kids.
That's what kills you.
You know, oh my God, your
That's what
daughters
kills
are
you,
so
weird ass.
beautiful. You know, this and that. How
They
old
give
are
them a
they?
cookie or a lollipop.
She did it.
Yeah, of course,
Can I
bro.
get them something?
That's the way it works.
She's a professional.
But
She's
what,
really good.
what was she trying to do?
So why you put your guard down too?
Exactly, right? She wanted to, for me to gain
Earn your
that
trust.
trust.
Of course.
You know, she took my girls back there to get them cookies, drinks, and obviously my girls are 3, so they're like, oh yeah, they're like,
You were signing by the time they got back.
exactly.
And it's genuine with her, right? I do want to add that. It wasn't a sales tactic. Like it was genuinely like that experience.
But that's the psychology in sales. That is sales psychology. You know, that's the thing that when you do those type of things. And in other words, you're selling something, but you're not even noticing because you're not focused on the product. You're focused on the people.
That's why genuine
Yeah.
people make better salespeople. At the end of the day, you have people that go to school to do sales. I never studied, and I went to HEC for a year. My parents were always, you have to go to college, you have to get this degree, you have to do that. That obviously I wasn't cut off for that. But when you have something natural inside of you, like that lady was genuine, and she really did care. If you bought the car or not, she was still gonna give your kids cookies.
Exactly.
When you have that, como se dice en español, un don. Eso es un don. Tú naces con un don. And when you're born with that don, however you say that in English, I don't know. Bro, that gift.
Yeah.
That's when the doors open for you in anything you go into. I don't know how to sell houses. I don't know how to build houses. I don't know how to sell cars. But I'm pretty sure that I would have a little bit better reception to it or a little bit better intro into it than somebody that went to school que no nació con that inside.
And there's a reason why you guys are here, right? And mind you, I've been blessed to have a lot of great friends, right? So like I could do this session with probably with like 10 more people here, maybe a little bit more, because I think like-minded people connect, right?
Yeah.
So good people, like, como te digo, like it's something that like you guys are doing business the right way, right? So I wanted to have people here that do it the right way, and that's the reason why you guys are
Thank you for having us, too.
you guys are successful in what you do. I've seen a lot of people that they hit that home run right away, right? They take a shortcut, and some people make easy money. And as an entrepreneur and as a businessman, it's if you're not doing it for the right reasons, it's easier to lose focus and say, dang, I want to do it like that, or like, why am I not making that amount of money right away, or whatever, or you know what, I'm just gonna start doing that.
It's happened to me.
Bro,
It's happened to me.
it's a real thing.
And social media is what kills you. That's why I personally have tried to take a step back from social media, even though it's very important in any business person, as you guys already know. Bro, because you start seeing on social media that somebody, and it's not jealousy, but your mind starts thinking. I'm sure y'all don't sleep at night, and when you do sleep, you're thinking about your business, or you wake up in the morning thinking about what do I gotta do today to make money. I had this conversation with my wife the other day. A lot of people don't understand. People think because you have a business, you go into work whenever you want, you leave whenever you want, you take vacations. People don't understand that you have to wake up in the morning and figure out, how am I going to make money to feed my family today? There's no script.
People don't understand that.
Nobody says, hey, look, come here, let me hold your hand and take you so you can make $1,000 today, or $500 or $200 or whatever you make. And what about the days you don't make nothing? And the bills still come in.
Or they see the vacations.
Exactly.
Or they see
The
the
new
oh my God,
cars, the parties.
But people don't see the sacrifice.
I was having that conversation with my partner, Jesse, my brother-in-law.
Shout out to Jesse.
Yeah,
That's
shout
my
out to
brother.
Jesse. My brother is like, we do everything together. So I was telling him that people think they love the grind. People think they love the hustle.
Not until they do it.
When they do it, it's a difference. You gotta enjoy the getting up early. You gotta enjoy the failing. You gotta enjoy
Everything.
the good times. You gotta enjoy the whole package. You know, so
Being away from your family.
correct.
You know how many birthday parties I've missed?
Agree.
You know how many Halloweens I've missed because I've
Yeah.
been stuck in airports or whatever the case is. Because, when your business, at least on mine, I know you guys is a little bit different. Mine's international. national and international. So if somebody calls and there's an event that I gotta do in Ohio, oh, it just so happened it landed on Thanksgiving weekend or whatever. Well, I have a choice to make. I either go try to spread the word about the business and blow it up, or I sit at home for Thanksgiving and didn't make any money.
Yeah.
It's a choice you gotta make, and that's tough, bro. It kills you sometimes.
And the people, como dicen, the people don't understand the sacrifice. Like all they see is, wow, look at the vacation, look at the cars, look at this, but they don't see when you're like down, when you wake up in the morning, we're excited, you're like, damn, what am I gonna do?
You're depressed.
How am I gonna figure this out today?
Right.
Like
Or you're up till 4 a.m, you haven't slept, everybody else in your house is sleeping, and you're figuring out, what did I do today? But bro, I had to buy myself a planner the other day. I feel like I'm getting old or something.
Yeah.
I have to write everything down now because I forget everything.
Yeah, like there's so many things that, for example, like, you know, at least in my business, you can make a lot of money, but it's a very risky business, you know, and it could be very stressful. But this guy knows, because we're trying to close a deal right now that my deadline is Friday, and he's doing my work. But we're stuck with a permit, and you know, that permit can make me lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? But I know that, hey, if it doesn't get done, I can just put it in the market and have to wait another maybe 30 days to close. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know the stress that you go through that. You know, a lot of people don't understand that, hey, these people, yeah, they make money, but you go through a lot.
One of the things you've learned, because guess what? You don't sell that house Friday. Let's just say, for an example, you gotta wait another 30 days. You gotta have money to float another 30 days. Because a lot of times.
What did I tell you earlier? I said, right, I'm trying to sell it. I need that money quick.
I don't know anything about your business, but me ha pasado a mí in the past, and I speak for myself. You start making a little bit, and when you're making a little bit, you think you're making a lot, because como you've never made it before, you say, coño, look, I'm eating filet mignon every time I go out. Now I'm not looking at the New York Strip anymore. I'm looking, I guess I like New York Strip still. Ahí palomilla too. Pero bro, you start making a little bit, and you think, I'm doing good. You know, let me ramp it up a little bit. But then what happens is, cuando tienes un fracaso, que you get smacked in the face with something like that, and you say, oh shit, what do I do now? Because that money that I should have allocated for this, I spent it last weekend at this restaurant.
You get hit with a COVID, bro. Like,
COVID was great for me.
No, right. It could be good or bad,
phenomenal
right?
for me. I did
Praise
4
the
times
Lord.
better than any other year.
COVID was, that time, 2019, 2020, 2021 was the best real estate years, bro.
I did great with COVID. Cigar-wise, everybody was sitting at home drinking and smoking. I had people that were calling me that I hadn't heard from in years. Hey, send me a box of cigars. Okay, sure, yeah, why not?
I think for Elo is more, since he is in entertainment, he closed so many venues. And
For me, it was tough in the beginning. Because
I can see.
I was doing solar sales, and I was doing parties, and we were doing good too. And then at that point, everything closed, right? And there was a lot of restaurants that, like, bro, they were going through it, and they couldn't feed their families, right? And they had to be creative, finding ways to do it. Then I know that there were a lot of people speaking about the home run and everything. That, bro, those loans started coming in and everything.
That was dangerous.
And people were just wilding, bro. And
People, one employer buying Lamborghinis and
right.
But people took advantage for the wrong.
100%.
But that's what I'm talking about. As an entrepreneur, to do the right thing, or to just make the money quick, because a lot of those people that took the money quick are now paying for it, right? They're one way or another.
100%.
They're done, right?
Nothing is free here.
Correct.
Nothing's
So,
free here.
I'm super proud because my journey hasn't been the quickest, but like I'm super grateful because every little chapter that I've done like has helped me to what I do now, right? And so I also, like you guys, I worked with Bank of America 10 years, right? I was in corporate, and I climbed up the ladder pretty well, and I noticed at one point like some of the things that were happening, you know, some of the people that were sitting in those high positions weren't good people. They weren't doing business for the right reasons, and I noticed I had to deliver a lot of those things to the guests and everything, and I didn't love it, and that's kind of when I decided to make my move. But even though I didn't want to be a corporate guy, I didn't want to be that 9 to 5. I learned a lot there, right? And then as I did this, I learned a lot there. Where now in everything that I'm doing, it just makes you so much well-rounded, bro. And the same way that you guys were practicing with the multi-level marketing, like we were built this way, right? Like I remember I was a kid and I was 13 and 14, or even maybe a little younger. I was saving my lunch money to buy parts to build bikes in DR, right? So yo compraba, this is Spanglish, right? So yo compraba los aros, los rayos de la bicicleta, compraba el aro entero, compraba el cuadro, right? I would buy literally all the parts.
Yeah, you
of
were a custom bike builder, bro.
And
You
I was,
didn't know it yet.
I was building my GT bikes, right? I'd ride them for a little bit, and then I'd sell them.
You never saw candy at school?
Bro,
I
Yo no
saw
sé lo
candy
que
at
yo no
school.
vendía, brother. Yo vendía todo. Yo guardaba el dinero. And bro, there was one time, and in the neighborhood that I lived, there was a lot of Haitians because they were
We have to start drinking after this part. Now we're getting
I
personal.
know it might get a little crazy. So there was a lot of Haitians in the neighborhood because they were building houses, and I built a mountain bike, right? And I rode it for a little bit, and I might be saying the wrong number, right? But I know that as I was riding it, I told el PT, se vende, se vende. And I told him, ¿cuánto? Y me dice, yo le digo que 300. Y me dice, no, está muy cara, está muy cara. Y yo digo, ¿cuánto tú me das? Y me dice, el 500. Y yo digo, está bien.
Está bien, no hay
El
problema.
pana él le parece que me entendió mal y me dio más.
Ya, porque
Normal.
you said 300, he
Yo
said
le decía
500.
que está muy caro y me dio 500. So,
Por 500 me
se la di, llévatela, me dio mi cuarto y me fui.
No hay problema.
Claro, pero uno estaba
500
alerta.
pesos back then was some pretty decent money.
Yeah.
500 pesos now is not nothing.
Bro,
Pero-
I'm talking about like when I was probably like 12,
So I'm
13
saying,
years old.
500 pesos back then was worth some money.
And it could have been maybe de 500, 800, pero he gave me more money, me lo ofreció. Pero, bro, yo estaba flipeando bicicletas, the same way that you guys are flipping houses. And it was something that at that point, it was just me trying to, make a few dollars or whatever. Pero that was a
The
part
hustle
of it.
was in you.
The hustle
You're
was there,
born.
right?
That's another thing. When you're in a business, you have to be born with the hustle.
You have to.
There's a lot of people that want it, like you said earlier. And when they get into it, no se dan cuenta que it's not what it's called to be, or you're just not born with that animal.
Right.
There's a lot of people that want it. They're like, "Coño, I want to be in business. I like cigars. I like whiskey. I like whatever. You want to sell plastic cups? That's up to you." But they don't have that
The hustle,
fire
they don't
inside
have
of
that
them.
drive.
It's like they prefer to wake up at 8 a.m. to go work for somebody and give
take
up 100%.
orders.
But then when it's time to like put in their work, it's 10 in the morning, it's still laying down. So
Which is okay though, because we need people that work for other people.
no,
If not, we wouldn't have employees.
100%.
We
But it just you need that discipline. Like you said, you need to be wired a different way that you get up
need a little
without a
crazy,
boss.
too.
You know?
No, because at least for me, in my perspective, I wake up, and I have to have my team meeting because all my team is overseas, right? So I got people working in Egypt, got people working at the DR, right? And everybody, I need to be, not micromanaging, but I need to make sure that they're doing their job, And like Vladi said, it's like when you work for yourself, ain't nobody gonna take care of your baby, You
No.
need to make sure you're there.
No.
You need to show up. When someone is like, "Hey, I can't make it to work today," like you need to represent everybody. Like, okay,
Alright.
I do the job, I guess, But again, you have to have that hustle. Like
You gotta be
have
the
to-
janitor, you gotta be the
everything.
salesman, you gotta be the CEO,
Everything.
you gotta park cars, you can do whatever it is in your
Everything.
business titles.
You guys hit two good points, right? So it's good because you have your team, right? How many people in your team?
15.
15. And as a leader, you have to give your team all the tools and resources they need to be able to do their job correctly, right? And it starts from the top.
Right.
One, if you do a good job at that, you're going to be able to have the work-life balance you need because you have a team that you trust.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we want that freedom where we can take that vacation, or you just went to DR with your family a few days ago, right?
Yeah.
And you've built a good team that can handle the business too. So, but you also talked about how it's important because we're preaching about the entrepreneurship and the being a risk taker and making that move, right? It is not for everybody. So
It's
if
not.
you do not
It's
want
not.
to be that guy, it is completely okay. We're not here to bash the 9 to 5.
Of course.
We respect it.
That's why I said it.
Yeah.
I said it for that same reason. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I'm
because
glad you did.
At the end of the day, ¿qué pasa? Que, we all have family. Not everybody in our family is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I use my dad as an example. My dad is one of the hardest working guys I know. My dad had a tile company for 20 years, and he might go to jail after saying this. My dad never had it registered. My dad never had an LLC. My dad never paid taxes on it. My dad never did nothing with it. Look, at my dad worked. My dad worked when he got off of work every day, his normal job, he'd go lay tile. Saturday and Sunday, he was laying tile all day. Probably cost the reason why it cost him a divorce because he was never home. He was always working. He made great money, but my dad was a worker. My dad's always gonna be a worker. I asked him probably about a year ago. I said, "Papi, whatever happened? Bro, you made a lot of money over 20 years laying tile when tile was hot.
Yeah.
Tile now is not. I mean, those guys back in the day, in the early 90s, he did tile all the way through all the 90s and through the beginning of the 2000s. He was doing new construction builds. The guy didn't even have an LLC or license.
It's laying tile.
But back then, nobody cared. You know what I mean?
Different world.
Bro, he made bread. It was only 3 of them. So if you're doing a $20,000 job split 3 ways, and you're doing maybe 1 or 2 of those a month, that ain't bad money back in the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I said, Papi, what happened to all that money? He goes, "Es dinero." Lo gasté, ese yo. El señor está en restaurante, en bote, because, you know, he never planned accordingly. And I used to always tell him, bro, if you would have shown me how to lay tile, you know, I knew little things here and there. I could have scaled that business. We could have did this. We could have did that. And it's not until like a year or two ago I told him one day, I said, why didn't you ever teach me? I could have ran that business. We could have had a tremendo tile business.
Yeah.
He said, bro, I didn't want you on the floor on your knees laying tile. He goes, I don't know how, because you're not very smart. Because my dad likes to talk shit. He goes, you're not very smart, but I don't know how you are doing better than I was. And bro, tú no te mata. Yes, you might get stressed out, you might travel a lot or whatever, but you're in air conditioning. You're not sweating. You're not bent over, putting towel on the floor. You're smoking a cigar and having a drink half the time.
Because you're a leader. You're leading a team.
Yeah.
But that's what he told me. He goes, if I would have taught you how to done tile, you would have been so focused on that, you would have been the rest of your life hunched over.
Yeah.
I said, well, no, I think I could have built a team. He goes, olvídate de eso. Okay, when show me as a stroke one day for work, you know what you're going to do? You're going to bend over and you're going to start making cement, laying tile too.
Yeah.
And, you know, even though I don't agree 100% with what he said, at the same time, it makes sense. You know, he wanted me to do something a little bit different than that. But the 9-to-5 person, and I know I went on a rant, is necessary. If not,
100%. And I have a
none
lot
us
of
have a
friends that are
business.
successful at it. They live a great lifestyle. They travel the same way that the entrepreneur
stress-free
travels.
as well.
Stress-free. And I'll tell you, I've had, because as an entrepreneur, I've had some ventures that haven't been successful, right? And like
Everybody has a dream.
got into some bad partnerships. I've got into some venues that maybe I wasn't experienced enough to do it, and I just jumped into it.
Yeah, know your head.
Yes, 100%, bro. And then like I got in debt, and I had to go back to that place, right? So I'd be a hypocrite to sit here and talk about the entrepreneurship grind, and when that's been what saved me, right? I made, you know, a lot of the money that I was able to open my car dealership at Bank of America, right? And I
remember
funded
your
it with
leadership.
that. Right, and it was great times, and I worked at the bank 10 years, and then I was able to fund it to do that, right? Eventually the dealership closed, boom, I was doing parties, I was doing solar, I made a lot of money, and then I got into a few hospitality businesses and everything, and some of those weren't great. What did I do? I went back to the structured corporate world, and now I don't necessarily call the car business a 9-to-5, because it's almost like
You make your own hours, really.
kind of, sort of. You got to be there at a certain time, but it's flexible. When I was selling, yes, I would do whatever. But now I'm a manager at Curtis and Nissan. If you need a car, I got you, right? Hey, we got all brands, new and used. But anyways, so now as a manager there, it is a little bit more structured, and I am in that environment. However, it's the coolest environment in the world, right? The car business is not for the weak, but bro, we have a lot of fun.
You're laid
and
back.
I enjoy it. It's super laid back. When it's time to sell, it's time to sell. But we just have a great time. We help people and everything. So to me, it's not work. Like I go there and I show
enjoy
up
it.
and I do what I do, and then I can still balance it out well with my events and everything that I'm doing.
works out.
So it works out for me. But I just say that to say, the 9-to-5 is super okay. So if that's what you do, I have friends that are lawyers, and I have friends that they're RNs or whatever.
And 9-to-5 is becoming very flexible.
It is.
Like I remember after COVID, 9-to-5, now you work from home.
Yeah, 3D
Like,
from home.
like my wife, she currently is not working at the moment, but she was working for a long time for Geico. And after COVID hit, bro, she was in a position where I think it led her to actually quit her 9-to-5, because she was seeing that she didn't have the flexibility she once had. She was in a position where her supervisors, she wasn't on the phone, she was auditing other teams. As long as you got your work done, they didn't care. So if you worked Monday, she worked Monday through Thursday. She had Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. If through Monday through Thursday you got your work done and you worked 10 hours or you worked 40 hours, they didn't care. They just wanted the work to be done. She loved it. And she still had time to be with my daughter. You know, she could work remote. We went to one time to California. We drove RVs for 10 days all around California. I'd wake up in the morning and I start that RV. She'd be sitting there with her laptop, working from California, chilling. Oh, we're going to stop here and take pictures? Let's stop and take a picture. But when they tried to transform it back to that, how we used to all be, I said, what are you getting mad? That's how things used to be before COVID. Psychologically, it messed her up. And it messed her up to the point where she's trying to look for that 9-to-5 environment, because she's also scared of taking the risk. I'm trying to get her to jump into entrepreneurship as well. And she's like, look, one of us needs to have some type of, stability. Where now she's trying to look for a job that can provide her with that, but that's very hard to find again, because everybody's starting to go back to normal.
The project management world is good, because they a lot of companies they just bill you for, or they pay you for certain hours you do. They don't care how you do it, right? So like if you get the job done, you get paid for it, right? And you can still go and get on that RV or do whatever
Like
you
I
gotta
wanted to
do.
open a travel agency. Bro, se lo conoce, que es incredible.
Yeah.
I booked for us that Margaritaville cruise, the new one here to Tampa. I booked it for Christmas, and I gave it to her as a gift for the three. It was her and me and my daughter. I think I spent like $1,400 or $1,500, but I had only paid the deposit. So I gave her the thing, for Christmas. She said, "How much did you pay for this?" I said, "Bro, what kind of a question is that?" She said, "No, because you probably overpaid. I know how you are. You see something and you buy it." Bro, I don't know what she did, but we ended up upgrading to a room with a balcony, and instead of paying $1,500 or $1,600, I paid $1,000. No sé qué hizo. No sé qué más.
That's
So-
that's
so
that
with
girl
the-
power, bro.
So with the internet era, is that still a thing? Because to me, that was like something that was like
I
outdated at
thought
this
it
point.
was done too.
Like Expedia, all that stuff is there. I didn't
Pero
think
¿qué
that
pasa
travel
with
agency is a
that?
thing.
No, that's what I thought too. Pero ¿qué pasa? Que what I would like for her to do is something a little bit different. Because, bro, I mean, the only thing I can really tell you is experiences that we've had, and I don't say this to make it seem like we've done all this crazy stuff, but we kind of have. We flew last year, the year before that, we went and we spent almost a month in Europe. We flew from Orlando to London, London to Italy. We took a 14-day cruise.
That's nice.
Greece, and
That's
we went
dope.
to Athens, Mykonos, Sicily. We went to Turkey, all kinds of crazy shit. Spent 3 days on the Amalfi Coast, looking over. Beautiful, bro. And she planned the whole thing. And just me and her planned the whole trip, and it was not expensive. I thought you would have told me that trip. I would have said, "I hope to that be it." It wasn't that expensive.
No?
When we get on this plane, she's telling me about this plane she found from Orlando to London for $300 a person.
Wow.
Pero oye, si me ponen al lado de los mecánicos, you're gonna have a problem.
Atrás.
Bro, that's an art. That's a skill.
Papo, I get on the plane, and it's called Norse Airlines. I don't know if you guys have ever flown it. If you ever see it, fly it, because this is no paid promotion.
Yeah.
De verdad que it was
Le mandaron un cheque,
Oh,
pues.
yeah.
No, I swear they did it. I swear. Pero si me quieren mandar uno, mándame a mi casa. Bro, we got on the plane. I said, "Wow, this is nice. This is super, bro. Like a very nice plane." On the way back, she said, "I'm gonna upgrade us to first class." And I had already had a bad experience with first class to Dubai. Yeah, I wanted to get first class, and because I'd never had flown so many hours, I said, "Go for first class." He said, "It's $10,000." I said, "Buy it." He said, "Oh yeah, buy it. It's $10,000 a person." It was three of us. It was $30,000. And no compre nada. It was
No,
back in the plane.
Pero esa era
Con el mecánico, con el
Esa era
mecánico.
para de Dubái.
Pa ir para Dubai. But when we're coming back on Norse, we flew from London back to Orlando. It was like $625 a person, first class.
I know, but
Right.
No es first class, que you have your own little cubicle, que
Yeah.
but this is the first class, que everybody has. I mean, me and her
Awesome.
were probably this far apart from each other.
Yeah.
Your seat reclines on the way back. You have food, alcohol, movies, whatever.
Worth
you
it.
want.
Worth it completely.
$600. So my thing is,
That's like a 10-hour flight too, right?
bro, yeah, it was like 10 hours. So my thing is not necessarily, it's a niche. And it's not the whole old school travel agency where you go, the person sitting there with a little hat, like, all right, book your trip to Florida. I'm talking about somebody que you can say, all right, look, what's
Dile a
your
la
budget?
prima que entonces ella me consiga los días.
Exacto.
O sea, la
Pero
prima
una
mía-
persona que you come and let's say, all right, what's your budget? You want to go to Dubai, you want to spend 10 grand, right? Y que te haya todo and say, how about if I were to charge you 8? And you're like, well, you're 8, that's fine, do it. Y que ella se busque unos 500 pesos ahí.
Es que we don't
wouldn't
fuck,
pay
we got
$500
pocket watch. Que se
to
busque lo que
stay
sea, me está ahorrando dinero.
That's what I'm
Que todo el
saying.
mundo
So
gane.
it's a niche business que I still haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
The travel agencies in the past was just que la gente no sabían, and they would come, and what they would do with the cruise line is they would make a deal, they would make money, whatever. I respect everybody's
Yeah.
hustle, but I want something new, and it needs to be heard porque yo no sé nada de eso.
Claro, we're gonna build that business. So, mañana abrimos eso. Somos socios los cuatro.
We go to Disney, se sabe todo. She called me last week. She was there. The Disney park closes at 9:00 at night. She calls me at 10. No, we're waiting in line for this ride. I said, how? She said, no, I got it in I said, but the park closes at 9. It's 10:11. How are you in line? She goes, no, sé. I went over there and
She made it happen.
I mean, que esté con Mickey Mouse o algo.
Sí, sí,
no
sí.
sé.
Pato Donald, esa gente. No, pero, ¿qué te digo? Se me fue la guagua ahí un chin. But,
Se le va a ir conmigo mucho.
sí. No, el hombre se ve en un viaje.
Me está calentando el pico, ya.
Sí, no me atrago.
No, bro, I thought you wanted people to talk.
No, mentira, dale para allá, que estamos en
botella, mesero.
No,
Pues sí.
Y que me tocó todo.
No, ya se asustó contigo.
Eso
Sí,
fue.
se tuvo que ir.
Está peligroso.
Sí.
Está peligroso.
Ay, güey.
So, resulta que ustedes son primos entonces, sin saber.
Yeah, because I'm an infiltrated Dominican. So, and to touch base on that a little bit, I love New York. I'm sure you already know I can use
I kind of love it too.
I'm there more
He
than
got his
anyone else.
days.
Yeah, you got his days.
No, el problema es que, bro, look, obviously I'm Cuban, and the only culture that I've found is very similar to Cuba is Dominican Republic.
We are so compatible, it's not even funny.
And we're so close and everything. Lo que cambia is 2 or 3 little words and maybe 2 or 3 little foods.
El volumen a usted se lo subieron un chismán que el de nosotros.
En el hablar,
bro.
sí. And we talk about potato in our mouth, I understand that. Pero ustedes hablan un poco cantando también, dependiendo. Y en la capital habla un poco más limpio, pero el Cibao, you know.
Que no diga eso, que esta gente da eso.
I'm an honorary Cibao, I can say that.
Sí,
A ver, el primo también, eso está todo bien.
I can say that. Pero, bro, en Cuba, ¿qué pasa? Que en Cuba no tienen las comodidades que you have in the yard. So, por ejemplo, tú quieres sentarte en un colmado un domingo, jugar dominó y oír a José, so 2 in the morning, in DR you do that. En Cuba eso no existe, yeah. You know, en DR tú quieres ir para un restaurante and you want to have a live band, tocándote una salsita, un merenguito o algo while you're eating a steak. En Cuba tú no puedes hacer eso. Pero la cultura es bien similar.
100%.
I go there and I feel at home. Literally, I go to DR and I get in the car and I drive around toda La Vega, Santiago, Tamboril, Villa González, Gurabo, all of that, solo.
Sí.
Solo. Sin problema ninguno porque I know my way around, people know who I am, y me encanta porque I feel at home.
Will you retire in DR or one of those countries, or you want to retire
I
here?
would live in DR right now if it wasn't for my wife.
No.
Because, bro, my business involves DR. The beginning of my business was DR. So I can still fully operate my business from DR, making occasional trips here or occasional trips to maybe Nicaragua. Pero, you know, I could live there full time.
Right, if your wife gets a remote job, making a couple $1,000 a month, bro.
The problem is that she
I'm
moved
up on
over
it.
there because
It's
of our
perfect.
daughter. And, you know,
Okay.
DR
Oh, boy, got good school.
it's not very structured. No, you got good schools, but the problem is que DR is not very much structured for kids and lo que es the sheltering. You know how moms are, they want to shelter their kids and DR un poco loco, bro. And DR,
No, but there's the right schools over there.
no, it's not even about that, bro. Like it's not about the schools. The schools are great and the kids come out very smart. The
Not all
problem
of
is-
them.
No,
Pero hay escuelas que...
Sí,
Right.
bilingüe, que
The
contamos
problem
que
that I have over there, because you don't really see as much here yet, porque esto tampoco está muy... Well, you can drive down the street at 4 de la mañana, like I saw when we were coming back from Puerto Plata one day. We're driving down the street, going home, and you look to the left, and there was a guy standing there, y la policía were drawing upon him, yelling at him, getting him off the... Dude, you don't really see too much of that here yet, and so I can Dominicana walking down the street, te cogen y te asaltan.
Sí, no, it's a little different. It has its pros and
That's what I'm
cons.
saying. There's a little bit to it que a mí no me molesta. Pero para una niña de 8 años, if I can keep her a little bit more sheltered here, Dominicana, tú sabes que los niños están un poco acelerados también, con 8 años.
Tú no
They
quieres
already
que
have like
esté
15 de
bailando
uno aquí.
dembow y eso.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? They're not un pomado, you know, so that's the thing which I understand, I respect. But no, DR, you know, holds a special place in my heart, and I would like to retire there. Hands down, I would like to retire porque me gusta y la cultura es lo más similar a lo mío.
Claro.
I wish I could do what I do in DR, in Cuba, pero no puedo.
No, sí, sí.
Muy diferente.
Y the best second option que tú tienes.
For me, it's my first option, porque si abren a Cuba mañana, I still wouldn't go.
No, that's-
Because si lo abren mañana, it takes 50 years, 60 years, 70 years for it to get as modernized as maybe DR even
Claro.
is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true, true.
Para eso me
Sí,
quedo
pero
fuera
conmigo está como Miami ahora mismo.
Estamos requisitos ahí.
No, realmente, I love Tampa.
Tengo inversor, tengo aire acondicionado en todos los cuartos.
Sí, sí.
We're chilling, bro. Tengo una marquesina. I'm good with that. I'm good.
¿O tú dices en RD?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No,
I
Tampa.
thought
Listen,
you-
I'm at Tampa, you're gonna have a hard time. I'm born and raised in Tampa, bro. I love Tampa. I love the history. I love the culture. I love Ybor City.
Everything.
I love Tampa. Para sacarme de aquí, me vas a tener que dar candela. Y si me voy de aquí es para Dominicana.
Would you guys retire in DR, or you guys feel like you gotta stay in the States?
Tiene un pie allá, ya.
Yo creo que tengo un pie allá, la verdad. Because yo creo que el estilo de vida, la comodidad, la educación. Por ejemplo, yo no conozco a mi vecino. Allá un ejemplo, you go out and you might get a spanking from the neighbor because everybody's a community. Over here, you don't have that sense of community anymore. So that's why you see a lot of like the kids coming up here, they lose their values, they lose their sense of family, you know, so it's something that yo creo que quiero criar a mis hijas y mi hijo que va a nacer ahora. Allá,
Felicidades.
gracias. Allá, porque yo creo que hay más como sentido de comunidad, más sentido de... No hay esa loquera que hay aquí ahora mismo, tú sabes. Which, los niños son una lotería, tú no sabes si te va a salir bueno o malo. Tú lo puedes criar igual a todito, bro.
You're the third person that said that to me.
No,
There's
it's true.
no better saying that.
De verdad, una lotería. Tú lo puedes criar igual a todito, la misma educación y quizás uno sale alcohólico, otro sale profesional.
Sí.
O sea, la bendición más grande de un papá es que los niños tuyos sean
También.
bien,
Pero bien.
no tienen que ser los más
Saludables,
inteligentes, pero que they functional humans.
Correct.
¿Entiendes? Que sean con la sociedad, que puedan como, no tengan esa maldad que a veces hay en los niños. Entonces yo creo que en la crianza ya todavía tenemos ese sentido de comunidad. Entonces, no sé, yo tengo un pie allá, que es verdad.
No,
Y
ya.
estoy ya, un ejemplo, estructurando lo que son los negocios para en un futuro cercano poder hacer la transición para yo poder ir y venir. tú sabes.
beautiful.
Pero vamos a ver qué pasa, lo que Dios quiera. Tú sabes. Eso ya es una meta. Si se me dio, se me dio. Si no se me dio, seguimos aquí fajando en Tampa. Pero
No, no,
la única
pago.
forma que yo me voy de
Se
aquí
te da.
es de Tampa para Santo Domingo.
Ya.
Esa es la única manera que yo me voy de Tampa, creo yo. Y todavía no me voy completo porque yo creo que Tampa todavía estamos como estaba Miami hace 10 años atrás. Todavía hay
Sí.
tantas oportunidades.
20.
Sí, hay muchas oportunidades de crecimiento cuando tiene que ver con la construcción. Hay mucho crecimiento cuando tiene que ver con el nightlife, con los restaurantes. Everything in Tampa, es una ciudad como...
We're scratching the surface. This is still a virgin market, bro.
100%.
Este mercado está súper bien. Y eso es lo bello de eso. O sea, antes del podcast yo creo que estamos hablando, chit-chatting así. Yo tengo 20 años aquí, tú tienes alrededor de lo mismo, tú tienes un poquito más. Tú naciste aquí. Y ahora es que esto se está poniendo bueno. Yo lo veo así. Hay mucha gente que se está yendo, que hay que están para esto, que están para aquello. Están llegando mucha gente nueva.
Claro.
We were blessed to see what it was before and where it is now. And bro, it's developed a lot. Pero I like it here. I love it here.
2 months ago, yo tuve la oportunidad de comprar una propiedad, Robert,
Okay.
de su negocio, ahí en Palmetto como con la Roma. En esa esquina van a hacer lo que es Amateur Works, pero del otro lado del río.
Okay.
Porque ellos acaban de aprobar lo que es el Riverwalk del otro lado del río. So, va a bajar por the other side.
Yeah.
They're doing a project called Rome Yards, ahí, que va a ser the same thing as Amateur Works, pero del
Right
otro
there
lado.
on the side.
Is it like Tampa Heights area?
No, that's
Or Riverside Heights?
that's more of a. It's all west Tampa Bay,
Oh, West Tampa. It's on the other side of the
Yeah.
downtown.
downtown.
So when you stand in Amateur Works and you look on the other side where the high school's at,
Or Blake is.
Exactly,
yeah,
Blake.
right there.
Oh, what do you do with Blake?
So, no, Blake va a estar ahí, pero el final de Blake están poniendo con Publix. You know, once they bring that Publix in.
Oh, beer, the public
Olvídate.
water especially.
Sí, correcto. Entonces ya, I feel like that development, which is it's so controversial, but the gentrification of Tampa, yeah, it's kind of covering more and more, you know?
Yeah.
That project should be done in 2026, so I'm expecting that house to almost double. So. Pero,
Suerte en ese proyecto.
Yeah, that's great, bro.
pero it's something that they invested so much in Tampa, and it's just starting, to be honest, because they're saying that Water Street, 4 more Water Street fit in downtown.
And I can see that.
You know?
I can see that. Our downtown is kind of small.
Sí.
I love what it is now. Yo estaba viendo un timeline there where what it used to be and what it is now.
Yeah, so
Y
I saw it on Instagram.
it's que sale edition ahora. And it's a beautiful strip. In Christmas, it looks beautiful. So, pero yo creo que tiene fácil para mejorar un poquito. I want to go back to that. You just bought a house from him and what you're doing with it. So, would you retire outside of Tampa, or do you feel like te gusta la estructura de lo que es acá?
Sí, eventualmente we're looking out there in the R para hacer like, you know, the retirement home. Pero my wife, you know, we've been talking about going over there to get the education of the kids. Porque es bueno darles oportunidad a los hijos que digan, estudié en otro país, you know, so they can go and grow up and they can also practice with Spanish, you know. Like I grew up in the R, and the education over there here is totally different. Allá en Santo Domingo no existe el bullying. Pero aquí te dicen cacomaco, ya. Hay que llevarlo al
La
psicólogo.
gente se faja and they defend themselves.
No, allá, por ejemplo, tú te rompes un pie, a los 2 días te dicen el cojo.
Exactly.
Y ya, aquí te dicen el cojo, ay papi, ay, me dicen el cojo. Hay que llevarlo al psicólogo.
Of course.
Porque ya el muchacho está frustrado.
The kids are there for like kind.
No, o sea, lo que estoy diciendo, pero sé que darles oportunidad a los hijos para que vivan esa experiencia también. So we've been thinking about going over there for a couple of years, maybe a year or 2. But retirement, yes, that's eventually where we want to go. You know, have a home out there and, you know, have a, you know, ya cuando tú estás viejito, tú lo que quieres estar la montaña tomándote un café con los hijos y los nietos te vayan a ver a ti. Que tú no estás jodiendo. Yeah.
I think retirement will never be retired.
Yeah.
You can't when you're
Because-
an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
No
but
tiene-
you're
no
an
tiene- you still got that hunger, and that's gonna keep you like alive. And
No, I agree. Yo he visto muchos viejitos que cuando se sientan como que se le va la vida. So I get it. You fall in love with the grind, and then when the grind stops, like what is there?
Yeah,
What else is there to do?
One
There's no more chase.
Right. So I wanted to talk on 2 points, right? So you mentioned your kids, right? Congratulations, you got a baby on the way, a boy, right?
Yeah, a boy, yeah. I have 2 girls and I have a boy now.
Una fábrica de muchachos.
Yo quiero look. Some people
How many
dream.
you want, ¿verdad?
Some people
Porque-
dream with Lamborghinis. I dream with kids.
How many?
Yeah.
I want 5, but my girl told me we'll stop me at 3. But I'm convinced her to stop at 4.
Because this is the third one coming now. You have
My
two
third,
girls,
yeah.
right?
I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old.
El boy ya.
No. A mí no me ponga mi límite. So, la meta.
Tú me decías a mí, cuando tenga el varón, creo que voy a parar.
No, mira qué pasa. Hay gente que sueña con Lamborghini, con mansiones. Like my end goal is like build like a legacy, tú sabes. Tener mi niño, aunque
You want your
oh,
family.
La-
sit around.
mira, yo estoy sentado,
quiero
imagínate yo
una
ahora mismo
sí.
viejito de 80 años en una silla. Y
Lo
con mi
muchachos.
parejita, 2 boys, 2 girls, o 2 or 3 girls, 1 boy. Y los
Y-
nietos
y 20
corriendo,
nietos.
loco. Wow, man.
That's beautiful. Ahora, tú hablas de que
gente que sueña en eso.
tú hablaste de que tú el Lamborghini no, pero la G-Wagon no era un sueño.
No, eso más, tú sabes, eso fue para la familia.
Ya,
La
ok.
verdad, tú
Muy,
sabes que-
muy modesto,
tú
muy
sabes que
modesto.
yo ando en mi country tranquilo,
Ya, eso era para que la doña ande bien.
tú sabes que ya, I do everything for the family.
Ya.
Tú sabes que la gente siempre habla de la decisión más importante en tu vida, y la decisión para mí más importante yo creo que es la pareja que uno coge. Tú sabes, your wife, who you partner up with, because es la gente que te va a empujar la buena y la mala.
Of course, if you partner up with the wrong person, you're done.
Correcto, y te va a mantener level headed, te va a decir, mira, por ahí no, y te va a decir la verdad, si sabes, si está to your best interest. Para mí.
Escucha que yo lo.
No, es verdad, la mujer mía es...
She's involved in the businesses?
Oh, bro, yes, la mujer mía corre lo que son la clínica mía. Las dos.
Ya,
Pero ella me aconseja, me dirige hasta la construcción, tú sabes.
todo,
She-
todo.
she's,
Dice la Biblia que la mujer es ayuda idónea. So cuando estás así, bro, that's beautiful. I've seen Yana, que she's super involved in what you do too.
Esa que yo peleando con Jesse y Vladimir.
So that's a good.
she's the go-to person.
So I wanted to touch it briefly, right? So in what you guys do, right? Because Robert, tell me a little bit about what you do and how you mix your business with Vladdy really quick.
So yo tengo, I kind of got 2 businesses, right? So yo tengo que es un wholesaling operation, right? So real estate wholesaling. So just so I can give you a quick breakdown, I go directly to the seller. You know, so we have a cold calling team. So I have about 7 people calling all day, right? And they're calling people to want to sell their house. But we also do like marketing channels like the Google ads. So my job is, or our goal is to go directly to the seller, negotiate with the seller, get a price. So we'll talk to the seller. We'll say, hey, you know, we want to buy your house, right? How much you pay for my house? $150,000. Okay, perfect, right? So then, once we have it under contract, we flip the contract. We don't flip the house. We flip the contract. So then I'll sell it to an investor, and I'll sell it to Vladimir. I say, Vladimir, look, I got this house. I'm selling it for $170. Vladimir goes, look to the house. You know, he walks it. He said, Rob, look, I think my numbers are 150. All right, I got margin there. So I got it under contract for 150. He's giving me 160. So yo lo que hago es que yo le flip the contract to Vladimir, and I make 10,000 without doing anything to the house. So I'm flipping the contract. However, we also, you know, sometimes we pick and choose our houses that we want to buy, and we flip. So, you know, once we have a good deal, you know, my wife usually is the one that says, hey, let's buy this one. I want to flip that one, or I want to get involved with this one. So we'll buy the house, and then she does all like the rehab. She deals with the contractors, all that stuff.
That's where this guy comes in.
Yeah,
And that's when he comes in.
Okay.
So then that's when Vladdy goes.
So
he
a
gives-
veces si tiene un permiso abierto, I go in a closet, whatever.
Yeah. So he gives us like a scope of work. You know, we'll tell Vladdy, look, we need to change the roof. We want to change the AC. We need to change the duct work. We need to do a porch redone, all that stuff. Y Vladdy va me dice, hey, Rob, they create a breakdown. This is how much I'll charge you for everything, all this. Well, let's do it.
So you
Then
being-
he
you-
does all the work.
So you being the GC, you're not involved in the inspection of the house to make sure it's even a good buy?
No,
You leverage that?
Usually they bring me in after they buy. So
After we buy.
so after they buy, they'll bring me in, like, okay, look, I want to do X, Y, Z. So then I go back, I give them a quote. That's my quote, so they finish that up.
Sometimes unexperienced buyers will take Vladdy in
Correct,
before they buy.
correct. So they need my experience in
To
order
see
to
how
buy.
much they're gonna spend. Like I got experience. So I already know based on all the flips that I've done. So I can just walk in the house, and I already know, like, just by walking out, oh, this shit has foundation issue. I'm gonna have to fix the foundation. You know, el aire está viejo, el roof hay que cambiarlo, esta puerta tanto vieja. So I kind of already know an idea
He has an idea of
of
how
what am I
much.
gonna spend.
Okay, that makes
Now,
sense.
when there's investors that don't have experience, or they probably in their second, third flip, you know, they go to Vladdy, hey, can you come over here, walk the house with me? Let me know how much I'm gonna spend.
Correct.
Makes
You know,
sense.
then Vladdy will do, oh, okay, look, mira, mira, esta columna hay que cambiarla. O tú quieres tumbar la pared para que la cocina sea open space. Okay, fine. And then, you know, he writes everything down, and then he'll give a scope of work to the person, and this is how much I'm gonna charge you.
Correct.
And then based on what he tells the buyer, then those people come in and make me an offer on the house.
Correct.
See?
Makes sense.
So, you know, that's what
Yeah, 'cause
a lot of people do.
Robert will send them the how much it is and then the after repair value. So, for example, él me dice, mira, Vlad, esta casa es 150, after repair va a estar en 250.
Yeah.
So, right there, tú dices que le voy a meter 50,000 pesos, la vendo en 250, after fees and everything, me busco.
Atención investors, si quieren hacer dinero, estas son la gente. Vamos a poner la información de ellos en el
¿Sabes? So,
aquí
allá
al
abajo.
final del podcast.
Pero sí, entonces así es que our business kind of intertwines.
See, and the good thing, you know, the good thing about buying from me is that I'm 100% direct to seller.
Él es la conexión.
Yeah, so
Para ponerte claro.
exacto. So, por ejemplo,
Plug.
yo tengo gente que yo le paso casa y ellos la venden más cara. ¿Tú me entiendes? So, con nosotros somos 100% direct to seller.
No hay intermediario.
No hay intermediario. So, lo bueno es que, you know, yo, por ejemplo, yo se la paso a fulanito por 150 y él le pone 15,000 por encima. Y si se la compran a él, perfecto, no tengo problema. Él se buscó lo de él. Y eso siempre pasa. Porque ellos tienen inversionistas que tienen mejores relaciones.
No, that's business
Like,
at the end of the day.
I don't know that investor, you know. Él se la está comprando a él.
That's
por-
fair. The hustle's equal first.
Yeah,
They're 100%.
you know, like, you know, ahora the experience that I had in the past is that, you know, you got some investors that, you know, they get greedy sometimes. You know, they see that, como lo que tú hablaste ahorita, que people see how much money you're making, but they don't know everything that you have to do.
How much you invested to
How
get
much
that
you
lead?
invest
That's not even
to
business,
get the
that's like-
lead. Por ejemplo, mira,
You're your cost
business-
center. You have your whole operation to even be able to get that sale
Son
happening.
15 empleados, loco. No,
People-
it's something that.
I don't only see what you post on Instagram. though.
Yeah.
One-
Post that cost on Instagram is I thought a fact
No.
of mine. They think that he's
No.
selling
So-
money.
100%.
So sometimes investors they're like, oh wow, usted va a ganar $20,000. Papá, yo estoy negativo todavía en $20,000 por el mes, ¿ok? My business runs on 30,000 a month, ¿ok? Yo estoy negativo, yo estoy ganando 20,000 y me faltan 10 todavía.
Antes de comerse un pastelito, el tipo juega 30.
Exacto, ¿tú me entiendes? So that to me sometimes it's like, it could be a little bit frustrating. With
It is,
dealing with
but I
investors.
can tell you it happens in every business.
It
In
does.
every business,
I
man.
know it
Life,
does.
not
Yeah.
even just in business.
Brother, so well, I'm gonna vent a little bit here. So, hey, yo tengo los parties, right? And I do my events. And yo soy de lo tuyo, voy para allá a apoyarte en una fiesta. Atención, amigo mío, si me vas a apoyar, paga tu entrada. Gracias.
Right.
Bro, they're like,
Es
Yo
que
voy para allá.
se la pagan a otro y el pana tuyo.
100%.
conocido,
So
¿verdad?
then they come to the event and you're like, oh well, you know, why is it $50? Or like, can you give me this ticket for free, right? And the thing is,
That's
and
like
I started being more vocal about it, right? I'm like, hey, look, I gotta pay the artist, right? This artist, and now before I was a little bit more like secretive about telling people what an artist costs, and I'm like, you know what? Look, I gotta give this person $30,000, whether the party does good or not, or 25. Or sometimes 50,
Apoyo.
etc. Plus the expenses. So when you say, okay, ay, que mira, que te está buscando todo, because vieron que el party se llenó, lo que sea, bro, there's a lot that goes to it. There's parties that they do well. There's parties that don't do well, right? I lost money on that party. I made a little bit of money on this party. I bring it together, right? So, but people don't see what goes behind the scenes, right? Or like they see like, oh, okay, doing that event is all fun and games. Because you maybe the day of the event, you get to sit down a little bit, maybe after everything is calm.
Have a drink.
I was working that party 60 days, and you know what I'm saying, and putting everything together, like, ansioso si la gente iba a llegar o no, o que tratando de vender la mesa, doing everything. Bro, it's a lot. So in your business it happens, in mine it happens, I'm sure it happens in yours. 100%. I'm sure it happens in yours for sure. I was talking to Vladimir earlier, completely changing the subject a little bit, and I commend you a lot because in the accident referral business, moving a little bit away from the construction, I love the way you advertise your business. So Vladdy, he's very subtle of how he does his advertising, right? I know you don't necessarily do a lot of social media, right? And in the accident referral business, I know some people that, bro, they're annoying. Like they're calling me all the time, like, hey, how are you? By any chance were you in an accident? I was like, no. And then they message me tomorrow. I was like, I still haven't been in an accident. And then they message me the next day, I'll let you know if I get in an accident. Bro, but they're like, in terms of sales, bro, they're one of the most persistent people, which to the point, I almost want to hire them to come sell cars for me because will you reach out to the prospects like the way that you're doing it? The way he does it in his is very subtle. Like he posts his kids and he'll post something in an accident, reach out, right? Where like he's doing a lot of product placement where like, people will see that if there's an accident, they're gonna think of him, but it's not super aggressive, it's not annoying, and you're not scaring the customer away, and I think that's beautiful.
I think my motto when it came to that particular business, I wanna be as subtle as possible, and then, but I'm gonna do it every day. It's like that drop of water that breaks the rock. Yeah. I'm gonna do it every day. I won't call you. You might tell me, oh man.
You're gonna be on his mind.
Yeah, I'm you know, I'm the first person they call, you know, but I don't like it's going back to the conversation we had at first when we spoke about the people that you have to build a relationship, because people only work with people they relate to, people they like, people that have a relationship with. Because what's the difference between going to mine or to the other 15 offices within a mile away from me, you know? So I try to.
It's a relationship.
Yeah, to make every patient that comes to my office feel like family, and nobody leaves upset.
There's something big that I've always took in business, and I've applied it everywhere I'm at. Like, they may not remember your name, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
Right.
So just making the customer feel the right way, and remembering that the customer in any business that you're in, they are the reason why you're here. Like sometimes I have my sales guys or other people, you know, like, hey, oh my God, this customer is annoying, or this customer is this. If this customer were not here, we wouldn't be making the money. And I got that from Bank of America, right? Our checks used to say that. Brought to you by your customers. They are the reason why we're here. I don't know if you guys remember it, whatever, because you were in Bank of America. You were at Chase and City, right?
Yep.
So that's everything. Like, as long as, and that's the biggest advice I can leave in this session is like, if you're guest-driven, customer-driven, bro, it's always gonna make sense. It always is.
So my office, I'm named the Family Health Medical, because that's the reason. I want everybody that comes in be treated like family. You might not win, I might not make money of everybody, but I make sure they leave like with a priceless experience. So like, there's people that might come in and they might not have a case, and my colleagues be like, oh, but why you treating them? I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay not making money up for that, because I know in the future, I know they really hurt, they have no money. I'm okay eating that, because in the future they might send me their family, they might send me their mother, their grandmother. You know. So,
that's why you're successful. Thinking about the future.
Correct. So I build something long term. That's kind of my key when it comes to like the construction and also the medical.
Yeah, it's how you carry yourself, you know.
Correct.
Because we always talk about that. Like we care about how people see us and what people think about us.
Correct.
You know, like we got one thing that me and him, like at least once a month, we try to meet for coffee and just talk about, like, hey, how's life treating you? You know, 'cause I don't know if you know, but we know each other since we were like little kids. So with business and always being busy, you know, we don't get time to just sit down. You know, we talk, and we're like, and one thing I always say, like, yo, bro, I'd rather lose some money, but I don't want people to say like, hey, you know, ese tipo me engañó.
Yeah, do it ladrón.
Bro,
You know, ese tipo me
a clean face is everything, especially in a small town like this.
Your reputation is something que.
Mira, aquí en Tampa no puede decir nadie puede decir, no le den un peso a mí.
Man,
O Robert me engañó.
Yo te puedo decir de experiencia. I used to have a business partner. When I opened up Campaña Cigars in 2021, when I went out on my own.
Yeah.
Before that, previously, I think you remember, I had a business partner
Sí.
in the cigar business. And things were going very good for a very short period of time. Pero I was always putting my face out and my neck out on the line. And without getting into details of everything, cuando al final del día all the relationships had been made, y se quedó mal, the only one that was able to go door to door, person to person, and say, I'll make it right with you, I'll make it right with you, I'll make it right with you, was me.
Yeah.
But at the end
I
of
had
the
the
day,
same experience.
instead of going into hiding, I did the complete opposite. You will call me and I would answer my phone. Yo, what's up, bro? Oh, yeah, look, no, I know, but we're going to take care of it, blah, blah. And all I asked for was, all I need is work. All I need is for you to give me products so I continue to work. And I paid every single person back. Something that I wasn't necessarily 100% responsible for, because that's something that's, it's a business that, not a personal, that I made it personal. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather everybody say, wait, George is a good guy, bro. Ese tipo es buena gente.
Yeah.
That goes a long
Business
way,
with
bro.
him with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
And I put myself in a hole, I put my family in a hole. I got to a point where I said, what am I doing right now? Like I'm never gonna get out of this hole. I got out of the hole. And
Yeah.
thank God after that, ahora yo llamo a cualquiera in the cigar industry or other industry and say, yo, let's work. Now my word is worth more than it was ever worth.
Yeah.
And I can prove with people that,
Y,
so
y tú,
that's
hiciste
my
lo bien,
reputation is.
tú hiciste lo bien hecho.
You have to.
Porque si
como
tú no
hombre,
habías
tiene
hecho,
que hacerte caso, bro.
Bro, that's everything. That's everything. And I've been in situations, bro. I get a la cara. I get a la cara, bro. Like, and you'd be surprised. Sometimes you may be concerned, like, oh my God, how is somebody gonna see this? If you
Doesn't matter.
you show up,
Te respetan.
el respeto va a estar, bro,
Mira,
100%.
Everybody says I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. What do you classify a man? What does being a man mean to you?
Yeah.
It means something different to a lot of different people. Obviously, us four sitting here, because it means the same to us. But when you're a man, como mismo tú tienes que sometimes bite the bullet for stuff,
Yeah.
you have wins. Y como mismo you have wins, you have losses. And at the end of the day, bro, el hombre, sometimes los hombres dicen, yo no lloro. Bro, tú tienes que estar a veces en situaciones que you feel like crying. Even though you might not cry, you feel like crying because si no, tú no eres hombre.
Sí.
El hombre tiene sentimientos.
Claro.
People think, no, que el hombre es... El hombre tiene sentimientos. Bro, let something happen to one of your kids. My daughter, we were on a cruise the other day, and she broke her two front teeth. Me dio ganas de llorar. It was her teeth. She was fine. She didn't even bleed. But what's your kid? You see your kid like that. Just like what? Because you feel bad for your kid, you're a man? Or because in business, you have to sometimes, say, yo, I took an L. I took an L on this, or yo, I had to do this, or
That
esto me salió mal.
feels you, bro.
I think that's like the reason why most people don't go into business.
I opened up a business in DR. I took an L, bro. I took a bath on it, and with cigars. But it was my own fault. I was trying to half-ass it being here. You can't do that. And I took an L. Bro, people ask me all the time, yo, how's the business in DR?
Sí.
What I want to say, yo, it's banging, it's doing great, and that was my retirement plan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open this up now. I'm gonna get it running, and when I go to DR one day, I can sell the company in the U.S. and chill off of this.
Bro, I've embraced it. And I've been there, right? I got into some restaurants that didn't work, social house, and
It happens.
no funcionó.
It happens.
Club
You
place,
have to
no
wait.
funcionó.
It doesn't make you less of a man.
Yeah.
100%, 100%. I made great relationships from there. I've learned so much, and it's okay.
how it works.
It's completely fine. So speaking of that, right? What is something that you guys would say? And I want us to go around. If there were somebody that is scared to get in business or wants to get in business, but they maybe they just don't know how to do it, or they're hesitant to do it. What would be a piece of advice that you would say? And I'll start with you, Jorge.
Whatever it is that you want to do, research it, figure it out, because as much as I've thought I've had bright ideas, sometimes you're in the shower or you wake up in the morning and you're like, wow, I had this great idea. Somebody's tried it 1,000 times already. And you have to research who tried it, why they tried it, why it didn't work, and how you can make it work. Because like with me in the cigar business, bro, I didn't research shit. I went into the business and I said, vamos, I'm gonna make it happen. And I've been very lucky, and I think a lot of it has been just me as a person, setting an experience. That's where the sales, comes in. Okay, you can make it work, but research it. And the other thing, okay, I know you guys are gonna say the same thing, consistency and dedication, bro.
Yeah.
You're gonna be told no 100 times. You're gonna be shut down 100 times. You're gonna be broke at least once, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I don't know how many times. Everybody's different in their own business. But bro, you have to get through the ringer, through the grinder, and passed over with a cement truck before you finally start saying, wow, mira, me está saliendo un poco mejor ahora.
Wow.
That's
I'm sure you guys are going through the same thing.
Yeah, of course.
those are gems. What you got, Robert?
Mira, don't be scared. Don't be afraid to fail.
100%. Yeah.
Don't be afraid to fail. A lot of people, that's what stopped them. What about if it doesn't work? Hey, if
What if
don't
you
try,
fly?
If you don't try, you won't know.
That still happens to me. I wake up sometimes and say, what if it doesn't work? What am
Yeah.
I doing? What's my plan B?
Yeah? Like if you don't try,
What if
you
it does?
never know
What if
if you're gonna succeed or not. Don't be afraid of failure. And 100% I have to agree with you because yo siempre se lo digo. I always have this conversation with my wife. Consistency.
100%.
You know, consistency. You see a lot of people fail in real estate because they are not consistent. They'll try different things for a month or two. If it doesn't work, they stop. Hey, oye, la cosa, you have to be consistent. You can't just try something for a month or so. If it doesn't work, Roma se hizo en un día.
Agree.
You know, you have to be consistent. You know, like I see it all the time. I see it all the time. People say, "Well, I want to start real estate. I want to do this. I want to do that." You know, a lot of people want to become realtors, and they're like, but un mes hacer realtor. I'm like, what?
They do it for all the wrong reasons.
You know, like, oh yeah, because
For sure.
es lo que te digo. Like, and I see it all the time. People want to try things, but they're not consistent. Like, consistency is key to success. Like,
Apunten,
Oye,
eso te le están dando gems los muchachos.
Oye, la consistencia es la llave del éxito. Hermano,
Robert, es que nadie ve que tú tenías 4 años. Tú tienes 4 años,
Oye.
tú tienes 6 años en esto ya.
Yo llevo 9.
Sí, 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 you know?
You seen that meme? It's like a picture that shows a
Me
diamond.
voy a personal.
Dale.
Hace par de años yo me senté con Vladimir aquí, Blind Tiger. Y yo me senté con este pana ahí. Y yo le decía, lo que me está llevando el diablo ahora mismo.
And the conversation we all have at one point.
Yeah.
Bro, am I lying?
You're not lying.
¿Y qué me dijo Vladimir? A mí también.
No, porque la gente nada más ve un ejemplo.
Bro, Balboa así los dos.
Pero, bro, así es.
Oye,
Así es.
yo soy calvo y tenía pelo.
Y tú piensas que te va
Oye,
mal. Y te hablas con el socio
Hey.
tuyo y el socio dice, no, bro, we're in the same boat.
We're in the
That makes
same
you feel a little bit better.
No, oye, es más, me voy a lo personal. Nosotros estábamos ahí los dos para pedir los cuartos prestados, los dos estaban
Sí,
arrancados.
estaba lo de
Bro,
balance.
I've been in that meeting. I've been in that
¿Tú me
meeting.
entiendes? Pero la gente no ve eso. Si en ese momento yo me había rendido,
Sí, te jode.
yo no estoy en la posición que estoy ahora.
You're done.
100%.
You know? If at that point, if I would have said, fuck that, let me go back to corporate, fuck that shit. You know?
You would have gone back to corporate. You wouldn't have been happy there either. Because you get the taste of already the
Exactly.
Bro, it's
And
tough,
then,
bro.
and then let me tell you something.
I used to see that
Vuelvo
guy.
te digo, consistency is the key to
Agree.
success. You cannot stop no matter what you're going through.
Yeah.
If you believe in what you're doing and there's other people doing it, well, why can't you now?
100%.
You know, so
Be
again,
different. That's it.
you know, I think that's my biggest advice because like a lot of people ask me like, how do you do it, this and that, and look, and the other day I was talking to my 2 nephews. That you know they want to get into business and they want to learn, right? They don't believe on the 9 to 5 jobs. They're young guys, and I was like, look, if you guys can start, but if you feel like you're failing, that's good. That's a good sign because you just need to keep going. You know, like if I've been through it. If I gone through it, you can go through it too. So again, la gente nada más ve lo que uno tiene, pero
Lo
no ve
bueno.
el proceso.
La gente ve lo bueno.
Y el proceso es lo que hace a la persona.
Agree.
That up and down. You know, people only see that, wow, este tipo se compró este carro, que le compró esto, que están viajando a cada rato. You know, hey, next week me voy de vacaciones con mi esposa. You know, no stress free, no tengo que estar. Pero eso yo no lo podía hacer a couple years ago.
I've had
Yo tenía que pedirle permiso al jefe.
family
Schedule my
members of mine.
vacation.
I've had family members of mine que comentarios de hoy. You know, you always have the
Yeah.
people in the family. And not even so much family. My inner circle is tight of my family, but people are a little more on the outside and family, friends and stuff. Bro, I've already heard from 4 different people that people say que yo vendo droga.
I don't know.
That's a beautiful thing. That means you're doing something right.
It's a beautiful thing to a point because when I hear that information, I laugh. Porque hasta fall is you soy pendejo para eso. Well, tú imagínate que me meten preso a mí.
Oye,
Y tú un tigre bonito ahí adentro.
Exactly, bro. Pero es una cosa que you're like, coño, you say, coño, I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right, but at the end of the day, you're like, yo, nobody has faith in you. And you can,
Brother, es
you
que
can make
nadie,
some money.
nadie es profeta en su propia tierra. Brother,
That's it, dicen, coño, sorry, coño, coño, he's a car salesman, pero how's he driving the car he drives? They don't make that much money. Que sé yo? I'm not in that business.
Oye, por
More
eso-
power to him. Y si lo está vendiendo, good for you.
oye,
brother, tú sabes la gente que me pregunta lo mismo digo, por los paris, que no, que eso es lavando dinero, que si yo qué, que si
¿Qué
yo
es
cuánto.
eso, bro?
But
Eso
la
es
gente que más te apoyan y que más creen en ti son gente que no te conocen.
Yeah.
Yo tengo gente que son amistades cercanas o familiares y whatever, and they don't trust it. Ellos no confían que tú lo vas a hacer porque tú eres igual que
Cuando
ellos.
yo abrí la clínica o los negocios que yo hago, la última gente que viene para donde mí son mi familia.
sí.
Ellos te ven igual que ellos. Ellos creen que tú lo
ven los
puedes hacer.
resultados, hay que
Especially in
vienen, bro.
business. In the
Sí,
business,
sí.
everybody thinks
Nadie
que
viene a
muy
poner
bien.
mí.
Sí.
Bro, everybody como la comunidad, como que te amarra, te abraza más que tu familia. Y esa vaina es la realidad. Eso es verídico, tú sabes. Como tú dices, tú eres un profeta nada más en tierra ajena.
Pues, brother, yo tengo gente que de Nueva York, de otro estado, y vaina que me saludan con un cariño, un aprecio, los promotores más duros de diferentes ciudades, y cuando piensan en Tampa me tiran a mí con un respeto, que sé yo qué, y a veces tú ves gente de aquí así, que no, que es just Eloy, and I'm okay with that, porque I am just Eloy, but like, gente que están ahí, que te vieron así normal, a veces no entienden de
El Maduro, tú ya te vas a Bad Bunny por una discoteca. Tú te vas a
No, tranquilo.
That's what I'm gonna say.
hacer?
When I think about Tampa, I think about Hilo, Tampa.
No seas tan humilde.
And that's what happened because we're here.
Bueno, yo le tiro a hilo.
Tú eres el de Tampa, ya. You're the guy in Tampa.
Claro.
Y modestamente, pero uno le ha puesto duro, brother. Tenemos desde el 2012.
You deserve it.
Mi primer party, bro, el primer party grande que yo hice fue Arcángel en el 2012. Y ese party yo lo hice porque yo tenía dos muchachos que no le fue, no sé si maybe that was before, maybe, because I think we got closer a little bit after that. Pero yo tenía dos muchachos que I managed.
I was around 12.
Yeah. Ya no conocíamos 100%. I managed those kids, and yo lo ponía de que abrir los shows así, y a veces llegábamos a los
You
shows.
were from Orlando too, weren't you?
Yes. Y a veces íbamos a Orlando, de que abrí un show, y cuando llegábamos allá, después que comprar la pinta, que la tenía que pagar yo, que los ensayos, que todo, que producción, y no nos dejaban cantar. I'm like, ¿cómo así, bro? No estamos aquí. So I'm like, you know what, yo voy a hacer mi propio party. Y contraté a Arcángel. En ese tiempo Arcángel estaba con Pina Record. And I put Arcángel, and I think I mentioned this in another episode, but it's okay, because we're talking about something completely different. And yo puse la foto de los muchachos así y Arcángel aquí. Y cuando le mandé el approval a la gente de Pina,
Bueno.
¿cómo así? ¿Quiénes son esa gente? Mándalo para atrás. Y tuve que poner un muchacho chiquitico, Arcángel grande, porque ese hacer el party. But like, y brother, yo saqué dinero de mi 401k para ese party, mi tío me ayudó, mi hermano me ayudó, y así hice el party. Perdí pila de cuarto.
Acá no es un niño, acá en ese momento y todavía.
No,
hoy
estaba
en día.
rompiendo, tenía éxitos. Y el país se explotó. Pero I had so many loopholes because
Where'd you do it?
It was a Boomerang Martini bar.
Yo, about my house, I live by there.
Boomerang Martini bar. And it's on YouTube. I'll show you. I might put a clip on it here. Ahora,
Brandon, ¿no?
Ese es el Brandon. Que ese negocio lo cambiaron como 15 veces, se murieron pila de gente.
Estás casado ahora.
Sí. Great setup for a club, but it's just,
Great
ese negocio
setup.
está salado.
Somebody reached out to me a couple of years ago, and that's the reason. Sorry to put you off. I brought it up. They wanted to do a cigar lounge there.
Don't do it. Ese negocio está salado.
No.
Yo no creo en nada de eso.
Lo hacen ellos. Yo no me le voy a dar los tabacos.
Ah, no, pues dale. que lo
Ahí
hagan.
sí, mete mal.
Por el tiempo que está abierto, tú le distribuyes.
Yeah, exactly like that.
So to say the point, me engañaron para la gente, etcétera, y se perdió dinero. But like that was since 2012, and we were doing a few parties before then. Yo tuve colaboraciones, tuve sociedades con panas, que then cuando llegaba la hora del party, they'd all start partying, and I'm like, yo, bro, we're still working. Like, you know what? And then that's why I had to kind of like change names a few times, and that's how the Hola Soy Eloy came. Because yo salía a la calle y me llamaban a head, because I used to do business as a head management. Yo tenía una compañía de podcast, SMG, y me llamaban SMG en la calle.
I think when I met you, it was SMG already.
And I'm like, yo, bro, yo soy Eloy. So like, you know what? Hola, soy Eloy, and I'm like, I'm gonna brand like that. And there's people that believe in you, there's people that don't. But well, íbamos con el tuyo primero, because we were in his. So I'll actually go to you, and then I'll circle back. But what is something that you would say to an entrepreneur that
I think what they said was very important. I guess another one is don't try to reinvent the wheel. Ya el negocio, si tú pensaste en algo, ya 10 gente lo han hecho. So quizá busca una gente como que a mentor, Un mentor que ya lo ha hecho. O sea, no busque opiniones de alguien que nunca ha estado en el negocio.
Sí.
Because ese problema de nosotros. We start, you go to your mother, your father, your
Oye, y
neighbor,
somos años por-
and then you be like, oh, bro, I'm thinking about doing this. We like,
That don't work.
Oh, mira, oye,
tú sabes.
Money on that.
tú hablando de mentor, tú das dinero que yo
Sí, pero I think that's the best investment because
Yeah.
it stops you from making so many mistakes.
Oye, for me to get in
that
the
make
real
sense?
estate business, I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars in mentorship
Correct.
and being part of programs, you know, so I can get better. You need it.
You need
So
it.
for
And then
example,
a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I want to do what you do.
But it's not
And then what? No,
Lo quieren invertir.
Lo quieren invertir, lo quieren aprender todo de
Real estate didn't start with you.
No,
Real
exactly.
estate was already invented. Like construction didn't start with you. Cigar shit, cigar
Look,
thing is
look,
invented.
for example, en la familia tuya, Juancito, right? Yo conozco a Juancito de hace muchos años.
Shout out to Juancito.
Yeah,
Sitting on events.
El mejor,
De los
el mejor
tiempos,
control de Tampa, en la Agara State. Mira,
Y en su mundo de eventos, Juancito, you're a legend.
mira, Juancito,
What are you gonna do my house?
Juancito me dedicó a mí 10 minutos, bro. And to me, that's priceless, ¿sabes? Porque ya una gente accomplished, ya they've done it, they've been there. Eso como que everything he told to me was a sponge. And everything que él me ha dicho, I have tried to incorporate. También yo tengo mi otro mentor, es Vladimir también, que a huge builder here in Tampa. Every minute that I get with him, I'm asking questions. Tú sabes, yo no sé nada. Comparar con eso, son gente ya muy advanced. Tú sabes, yo me siento que yo soy muy bueno en lo que yo hago, pero ya hay niveles, ¿tú me entiendes? Tú no quieres decir, oh, yo soy el mejor, no. Ya ellos están en el proceso 10 años antes que yo. Entonces, ¿cómo yo?
Respect que
¿Cómo?
ignores.
No, pero
Porque hay gente que empieza
No,
un negocio
bro.
y no.
hay que
they
mantenerse
don't
humble, hay que mantenerse, hacer preguntas.
Of course.
Por ejemplo, hay cosas que yo quizá voy a poner, Robert, mira, que tú crees, o Robert viene a poner que a preguntas, gente que ya están established in the thing. Just because you have a question, just because tienes una duda,
Yeah.
bro, ya 10 gente, 1000 gente han pasado por eso. Entonces, pregunta, que yo te apuesto que whoever you ask te va a ayudar. Y te va a responder tu duda, tu inquietud. Te va a decir, mira, hazlo así. Yo lo traté de esta manera, quizás no te funcionó. Entonces, esta forma le funcionó.
Yeah.
Tú sabes, porque a veces we want to reinvent the wheel. Queremos reinventar un proceso que ya el proceso está
It's
hecho.
right there.
That's what happens with cigar business.
El proceso está hecho, bro.
Cigar, and they want to reinvent.
No.
And they want to call me, yo, I want you, because that's one of the biggest things I do in my business, is make cigars for other companies and for people. Like, you can call me now and say, I want to have my own cigar line. Pero they want to do all this crazy stuff. No saben. Entonces, lo que pasa es que at some people don't reinvent the wheel. Let me do something that's going to make you money. Pero I have mentors that I reach out to que son viejos. No te digo viejo de 40 o 50 años, para mí eso no es viejo. Estoy diciendo un viejo de 70, 80, 90 años, que gracias a Dios todavía está vivo. It's been this business, that's a legacy that's been passed down year after year.
Yeah.
This business is 200 years old.
Claro.
You know what I mean? Que es una cosa que you have to consult with somebody who has to consult with somebody who has to consult with somebody. Because I didn't learn it all in 9 years.
Yeah.
And I know more than the average person.
Sí,
Yeah.
sí, sí.
You know what I mean?
And you're still learning.
Bro, you learn every day.
Every day.
If you tell me any business you're in, you don't learn anymore. If either doesn't learn with the events, if you guys don't learn with homes or the clinic, ustedes no son iniciados.
Exacto.
Because every day you learn something new. Cuando entra aquí por esa puerta que wants to buy a car under a business, under a short corporation, que si de aquí with a credit score of 500, que tú dices, I've never seen this in my life. But you work out to make that money.
Vamos a trabajarlo. Let's work it. Let's
Yeah.
work
Same
it.
thing with you guys at the
I
house.
feel like I'm as strong as my group. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Jesse. ¿Verdad?
Oh, shout
Yeah.
out to Jesse.
Jesse.
Una bestia.
Mi amor,
100%.
ese es mi
I
amor.
love that guy.
Mira,
Buena vibra siempre.
yo no estoy donde yo estoy hoy en la vida without a handful of people que they have advised me, me han contribuido. Un ejemplo también, Jesse y yo hacemos todo juntos. Tú sabes, nos sentamos, ese es mi hermano, tú sabes. Pero I feel like la gente que nos contribuye a nosotros, we the reason we are where we are por la gente. Mira, Robert, yo Robert café una vez al mes. Quizás dije, oh, no, un cafecito. Mentira, bro, esas son las conversaciones que millonarios en ese tiempo.
El café dura 3 horas. For one coffee dura 3
No sé,
horas.
¿tú me entiendes?
But it's worth it.
Esa era la conversación millonaria en ese tiempo, que we wasn't there yet, pero
Yeah.
uno visualizaba, uno hablaba de la baja, de la alta, no, mira, algo así. O dos estamos en industrias diferentes. Él me acosaba a mí, yo acosaba a él. Tú sabes, entonces,
That conversation is beautiful, bro. Like, just being able to sit down and just kind of
Correct.
because we all have insecurities and we all have things that hey, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, and just having another like-minded individual that gets it to be able to do it, right? Because yo soy muy particular con pedirle opinión a cualquier persona. I don't ask for a lot of opinions because I was looking at something that Will Smith said the other day, and it's like, yo no le voy a pedir una opinión a alguien que no lo ha hecho, a alguien que no está en esa posición, but it's like, bro, like, tú no sabes de eso, gente que, like, I'm not asking you, like, you never lived it, like, you're not there, right? So it has to be the right person, right? And for the things that, like, you're trying to accomplish, maybe not everybody can just answer that question, pero tener like-minded individuals, and that's the biggest take back I can give to anybody that's trying to excel and do good or whatever is, you know, be with like-minded people, right? Porque yo soy loco, a mí me gusta fiestar, yo hago mi evento, etcétera, pero yo siempre digo, yo soy un loco cuerdo, right? Yo tengo mis panas que sí, son panas que a lo mejor van a salir conmigo y van a beber ese día, cool, pero tengo mis amigos de business, tengo mis amigos que maybe son los que vamos a jugar basquetbol, vamos a jugar béisbol, but in terms of business, bro, like-minded people, because the teamwork makes the dream work, and that's facts, right? So, but you gotta be able to.
Different businesses, we can all still help each other.
100%, bro. I'm huge on the network, right? We actually built a chat on WhatsApp where we added a whole bunch of like-minded people, some not as like-minded, but people that have the dream. And I know, right? So I'll tell you why. But so anyways, we added the plumber, we added the painter, we added the realtor, we added the insurance agent. El chat llegó como a 158 gente de Tampa that they had businesses and everything. I think you were on there too eventually. I think the chat derailed a little bit and a lot of people were joking in there or just putting stuff that wasn't really it. Right. Right. So the purpose of that chat was really just to be able to network and for me to be able to, when somebody needed to smoke a cigar, that I could refer you, right? When somebody or the distributor, or somebody needed to build a house or do something about a house, they can reach out to him, or somebody needed a flip, they can reach out to him. I think we didn't use it as wisely, right? But we have so much power to be able to connect amongst like just business people and to be able to help each other out, regardless of what business we're in. Bro, and it's not hard. It's not hard. It's just support and
network. Just because, like, for example, I'm in the cigar business. I'm born and raised in the city. You know how many people, how many networking events, how many, bro, just family.
Como dicen, your network is your net worth.
100%.
Absolutely. The most expensive thing that I own is my phone.
Yo pago por eso.
Jewelry, watches, whatever. Money in the bank, que no tengo mucho, pero bueno, when you can have. My phone contact list is the most expensive thing that I own. Esto yo lo vendo y no hay dinero para pagar.
No, estaba hablando de eso ahorita, antes de sentarnos.
No, el mío tiene City Council from Tampa, tiene el alcalde de Tampa, el mío tiene contactos en DR, que no voy a mencionar en cámara ahora. Es una cosa que, to me, at the end of the day, you can have $2,000 in your bank account, but if you got contacts in your phone, and you can go and say, Macho, mira, me hace falta ayuda con esto contigo, can you help me? So even if I'm not in John's business, wait, look, Jorge, I'm looking for. I got a permit que está medio, stuck up there. Well, you got a permit.
But you know why they pick up when you call? Porque tú te has manejado bien. So el manejo lo es.
Hay que respetar a todo el mundo. Aparte que respetar, hay que ayudar a todo el mundo. Because at the end of the day, if I call you 3 every time, yo, bro, help me sell cigar. Yo, bro, help me sell cigar. Y yo siempre es una que llamo when he needs something. Pero si te llamo, te digo, bro, how are you? How's the
La
family?
familia,
What
¿cómo
do you
está?
need?
Sí.
¿En qué te puedo ayudar yo a ti? Yo estoy bien, I'm chilling, I'm good. ¿Qué te puedo ayudar yo a ti? Oh, you need somebody, you want to remodel a house, you want to flip a house, bro, you're good, bro. I'm going to send you this information. Mira, a ver if you guys can do business with this guy. Pero ya eso, tú lo aprecias más que me calling you every 5 minutes. Yo, bro, help me out. Yo, bro, help me out. That's not a friendship. That's not a background. That's not a
One way.
100%.
Bueno, nosotros abrimos ese chat, porque estábamos hablando de cómo hay cierta cultura que se unen. Y estábamos hablando que nosotros, los hispanos aquí, controlamos mucho, pero nunca trabajamos juntos. O sea, literal, todo el mundo quiere jalar para su lado, pero el momento que nosotros hagamos un synergy, que todo el mundo esté junto, que todo el mundo esté trabajando, o sea, nosotros tenemos todo.
We need a new group for that. We need a new. I tried to join over the years different men's, not necessarily men, para ser machista, pero men's networking groups or business groups. Y el problema es
Pero
que.
tú empezaste una cosa así.
No, I did it and everything. We did a networking group, and that was one of the things that I noticed, that when I did that chat, it was cool, bro. I got, and not to, no para sacar nada en cara, because I'm not that guy, pero brother, I was referring business people left and right. And the thing is, bro, si yo te refiero a ti, tú lo vas a hacer maybe because ya tú sabes que si yo te lo mandé, no, like, like you trust my judgment, right? So you're gonna do it y te van a quedar bien. Y si no te queda bien, yo voy a llamar, oye, no le quedaste bien, hay que resolverlo. Y lo van a resolver because tenemos que quedar bien.
Sí, responsabilidad todo el mundo.
So I also did some networking events for that same sake, and I noticed that the support wasn't there necessarily. People weren't coming in. People weren't gonna make a priority. So I'm like, I can't be there for everybody when everybody's not there for me, and that's something that I've been really good at learning. Like those people that don't necessarily support me in what I do, you know what? Okay, yo lo voy a mover. Y normal, I'm gonna work with the people that are there, right? So we gotta pay attention, and that's hard because we're so intent of making things happen and growing and everything. We got a few solid soldiers out there that are always there for us. Yeah. Make sure you call that friend that's always there, and don't overlook them, bro, because I've been guilty. So to all my friends that always support everything that I do, I love you and I thank you for that. Because, bro, like, we're so focused on building shit, and because bro, hay tanta gente que they don't care. They only care lo que el beneficio que tú le das. Y no te llaman para nada. Y el día del evento te llaman. Voy para allá. No, tú no hablas conmigo en 2 años, ni siquiera table, déjame entrar.
Sí.
O que a última hora.
I've been guilty of that with him. I've been guilty of that with you. Yo a veces me paso un año. Lo bueno es que nosotros tenemos un entendimiento que cuando hablamos es como si nos vimos ayer.
100%, en eso es cool.
También hay que uno hablar, not being hypocritical. Yo a veces paso 6 meses sin hablar con él. Y me digo, bro, you have tickets, pero eso sí, yo nunca te pedí un descuento.
Right, no, y tú pagas tu ticket bien diferente. It's different.
Te voy a meter dinero.
No, pero tú lo estás apoyando a él en eso.
You're generally supporting.
Pasamos 6 meses sin hablar, pero hay personas que, unfortunately, how many people do you know in Tampa?
Bro,
How many of those are your friends?
I don't have a lot of friends, bro, but I tengo muchos conocidos.
El hombre de verdad y el negociante de verdad is very careful when you bring around your family, your wife, your kids.
Claro.
You know what I mean?
I don't have a lot of friends. Yo conozco mucha gente, and that's tough, bro, because a veces yo salgo and people like te saludan con un aprecio
No, and everybody's your friend.
en la red y eso, but it's like, you know, sometimes by like
Tú no sabes si es sincero.
No, es que en la discoteca everybody's your friend. Tú te paras al lado de una barra.
Y tú te das un trago y ya.
Todo el mundo ahí es amigo tuyo. Si te ven solamente, mira, we were in the yard, I'm sure you guys know the club, Gozambar.
Sí.
We were in Gozambar un lunes por la noche. Yo pido 3 botellas de Turning Walker Bull. Porque was a good price, comparado con aquí, it's a good price. Me dice, el primo tuyo ahora que acaba de conocer,
Freddy.
me dice, oye, people, vamos a tener una botella a la vez.
Claro.
Aquí a veces hay muchos ojos, y si te ven un lunes por la noche con 3 botellas de licor, vas a empezar un problema. I'm not thinking like that. I'm thinking que you're in the club, you order 15 bottles y bueno, no hay problema ninguno. Bro, en lo que él me dice, yo, let's relax with the bottles, the sparklers, you know, the girls are walking out with the 3
mi
bottles.
patrón.
El patrón me pone las 3 botellas en la mesa. And I said, wow. And all I could think in my head was, me van a atracar. As soon as I leave, me van a atracar.
Wow, Pedro.
Freddie's looking at me, bro, like, what are we gonna do? Bro, I was there for maybe an hour. Y en esa hora se tomaron 3 botellas de Gorleo. Y las 3 botellas de Gorleo yo me di 2 tragos.
Gente que tú ni conocías.
Que yo conocía, el DJ se bajó y vino y dice, primo, ¿qué lo que es, manín? Con el vaso así vacío. ¿Qué lo que es, manín? Es que no, primo, coge lo suyo, you know, what are you gonna do? And at the end of the day, I'm thinking in my head, yo, that's the craziest shit in the world. But it happens here. On a different level.
Sí.
Pero get yourself a section here para que tú veas how fast you have everybody in the club, your friend.
Yeah.
Yo, wow, how you been? I haven't seen you, bro. What's up with the kid?
Yeah.
But I think to that point, right, and because we could go all night.
Yeah.
We-
I can go all night.
No, and because this is beautiful. I love this, right? And we got to do it again. But like, we focus a lot on, because we know that it's not real out there.